Hi there, it's Rod here from Websites with Purpose, and today I'm going to show you one of my favorite free tools. It's a website called GTmetrix.com, and it is the best tool out there by far for checking the speed of your website and for finding out why it's not performing the way you think it might be. So here we are on the site. Now, by the way, there is a paid version of this and a free one. The free one is probably great for website owners. I use the paid one because we test a lot of sites. That's probably the first thing we do when we're testing a website. And all you do is you come in here, you put in the domain name of your website, click Analyze, and it will go through and it accumulates reporting from multiple sites on the site speed. So I'm just going to grab one of our existing sites rather than run it. It probably takes about a minute or so to analyze a website. So I'm just going to have a look at one that we've already done rather than have you sitting there waiting. Once it's run, it brings up a report like this. You get an image of the site and it shows you where the site rates on various performance criteria. Now, this is ideal, getting an A with a 99 or 100% performance, structure up in the high 90s. Everything that's dark green is good. Most sites don't fall in their first time around for various reasons, but you can look up why a site is not performing. So if you can scroll down here, you can see things like eliminate render blocking resources, which probably means nothing to you. That's something that you'd leave to a website developer to do, but there's various different things here. But there's stuff that you can do as well that to make a big difference. If we go to performance, these are the areas that it breaks down the performance. First contentful paint, that means how long does it take to get the first graphics from your website on the screen. Speed index, that looks at how quickly the main contents are populated. Largest contentful paint is how long it takes for the biggest part of the website to display. Time to interactive is probably the critical one because that's how long does it take before your customer can do something. As you can see, you see that pop up, it says a good user experience is 2.5 seconds or less. Well, we've got 0.67 of a second, so this one's pretty good. The next tab along here is the structure. That goes through a list of tips on that you can look at to see if there are things that you can do to speed up your site yourself, or whether you need to talk to a website developer. A lot of things like minify JavaScript, often you've got plugins in websites that will do that for you. So that's often a reminder, oh, you forgot to turn something on. The most useful part though is probably the Waterfall tab. Waterfall tab gives you a list of each item that gets loaded when your website loads and how long it takes. So you can look down here and say, okay, what are the things that are taking too long? In this case, one of the longer items is this one. What's that? That's the font. You can see here, this is using a Google font. Now, as a general rule, I always say Google, when they're doing ranking, Google loves people that use Google tools. So if Google has something available, use it. The one exception is Google Fonts, because Google Fonts, as you can see here, are very slow compared to having a built-in font. So I always avoid those, and that's something that I'll be jumping on here and fixing for this particular site. We come down low, we start seeing the images. Image tab is one that I like to focus on. Up here, you can see across these blue tabs, you can focus on different types of element. Images is probably the first one I always look at because that's one of the areas that website developers often fall down on. They'll load up images that are way too big for what you need on the site. As you can see here, all the images on here are 8 kilobytes, 25 kilobytes, 28 kilobytes. Anything over 100 kilobytes, you need to be questioning why do you have that on your site, because it's going to slow it down. If we go back, I'm just going to tab back out of here, or rather backspace, have a look at another site. So I'm going to go to, here's a site that came to us. And that's probably pretty typical of your average WordPress site before they start doing the some optimization. Pretty slow and horrible, frankly. We go to our Waterfall tab. We start looking down. In fact, on this one, I've actually already gone through and fixed a lot of those sites. These are where you look for image sizes. That's probably a bad example. Let's go back another one. Okay, websites with purpose. Let's look at my site. That's a B, but if I go to Waterfall, we've got quite a few images on the home page here, and we can see, there's our images. We come down here, we've got 3 images that are around 100 kilobytes, and then everything else is very small. 100 kilobytes, 116, 109, that's about as big as you ever want to have on your website. There's no reason why you should have anything bigger. If you're uploading images straight from your mobile phone, they're probably in the vicinity of 2 or 3 gigabytes. That's megabytes rather. You really need to get rid of that, reduce them down in size, and there's lots of free tools to do that. So this is the first place I always check. Look down here, are there images there we need to resize? And that's probably the quickest thing you can do to speed up your site. We look at our CSS files. As you can see, it's quite a few. Whoops, I'll turn off our images there. We've got a few CSS files. Up here, this is a tool that we have installed in there that combines all the CSS files from different plugins so that there's only one main file that's being loaded, not dozens. I've seen sites with up to 100 different CSS files being loaded every time you load the page, and that's really slow. So this, in short, this is a great tool. Jump on there, GTmetrix, pop your site in. Basically, you're looking for green. If it's red, yellow, you're in trouble. Look for green, and that gives you a good performance or a good starting point with Google. I should point out one other thing. In our performance, this one, cumulative layout shift. This site is being penalized because it has a slider on the home page. Google will penalize you for any moving elements on your page. Pop-ups, a big no-no. Sliders, be very careful. So that's the only negative on this site, and that's why it's a B and not an A, because it's got a slider on it. That doesn't mean you don't use sliders. This is my site, I'm using a slider, but be very cautious how you use them so that you're not getting penalized too much. That's it for GTmetrix. Get on there, have a play with it. Now just remember that the free version is based in Canada. So if you're getting a really good speed, but your website server is in the US, that may be giving you a false bit of confidence because it might not be nearly as fast in Australia. You need a paid version to test others, or give us a call and we can test it for you. So that is GTmetrix in a snapshot. Everyone should be using it.